what should you pay attention to?
First and foremost is obviously the taste. So you want to know, like I mentioned, like maybe you love this dish, but it's just a little too salty, or it has like a little too much lime juice, or, like kind of pay attention to that taste and make notes of that as you're tasting it itself, because you can always make little tweaks. Portion size. So I would ask when things are served, is this how it's going to be served on wedding day? The answer to that might be yes, it might be no. Or maybe, for appetizers, that one to me is like a really big one. I always like to say to people, you want to eat your appetizers with one hand, right? Because if at cocktail hour, you're going to have a drink in your hand and you're going to be kind of eating. So anything that you need, like a fork, maybe it's too big. Pay attention to that portion size. You want it to feel really natural because that's how you're going to want it to feel on wedding day.
Yeah.
And then presentation. So I would always ask, how is this going to be presented? Is the steak going to look exactly like this? Is it going to be cooked like this? Are all of these appetizers going to be on one tray? What kind of tray is that going to be on? All that stuff makes a big difference into kind of the appeal of the food and the feel of the event. So you want to make sure you understand that. Whether you think you care about it or not, it's still good to at least know the answers.
Yeah. No, that makes sense, especially if you don't have a planner.
Yeah, for sure. So just ask those questions. And like, you may not want maybe like a pork appetizer on the same tray as your vegetarian appetizer. So ask those kind of things. How is this going to be presented? Like, and at least then especially if you have people with a lot of food allergies or preferences.
Any other questions that they should be asking besides dietary restrictions?
I would ask where the food's prepared.
Sure.
So is it going to be, and how?
Why would you ask that?
I would want to know how it's going to be prepared in the instance of like, especially if you're not at an all-inclusive, like a hotel or something. How is it going to be transferred from your kitchen to this kitchen that maybe doesn't have any kind of ovens or anything? I'm going to want to make sure that my food's going to be hot when it's served. It's not going to be overcooked. It's going to taste the same way as I had it at the tasting. And especially if you're looking at like a standalone venue where the caterer is coming in, I would want to make sure that whatever I'm having is going to transfer, like fried chicken. This is a very popular thing in the South. If it's not in, a venue where they're cooking on site, I don't want the fried chicken to be soggy. So those are kind of questions that you're going to want to ask, and your caterer is going to tell you like, yeah, the fried chicken's not going to transfer very well based on the kitchen at your venue. Why don't we try to do something else? Or maybe we don't do like fried chicken as an appetizer. We do it as like a little mini bite because it transfers better. So I think that's something to pay attention to. Bar packages. This is a good opportunity if your caterer is handling your bar. Find out what their packages are and what their options. Talk about pricing for that. And then anything else that affects the look that they're providing. So are they providing the plates? What do they look like? Are they square? Are they round? Are they providing chargers, flatware, napkins, linens? What else is the caterer bringing that you want to see while you're in person at a tasting?
Right. Okay.
Plates are a weird thing because like if you get square plates and you ordered round chargers, like, and you didn't think to ask that, it's not going to work on wedding day. So
yeah,
just little things. You want to see exactly how it's going to be set up from their perspective.
And the kitchen thing is interesting because when we have launched new markets, I tend to meet with a lot of venues. When we go to a new market, I go to like 5 venues a day.
Yeah.
And they walk me through the whole tour, and we kind of look at everything, including the prep kitchens. And man, have I seen the spectrum. I'm sure you've seen a spectrum as a planner, but I just, from my perspective, like seeing like, they can vary.
They can vary a lot. And it may not affect certain menu items, but there are menu items where it could affect it. And so you want to make sure that rely on your caterer's expertise to guide you. Like this does not going to work at your venue. What other alternative can we do?
Right.
So anything can happen. I mean, we've done backyard weddings,
Yeah.
And the caterers cook everything or bring everything and cook there. So it can happen. You just have to ask.
Do they bring their own prep tables and stuff like that? Because I've seen venues that don't even have prep tables, and it's like, well, where do you put everything?
They can if they have to. Yeah. I would make sure make sure that if your caterer has never worked at that venue before, that you either get that information for them if you don't have a planner, or ask your caterer if they can come to like a final walkthrough so they can see what their surroundings are going to be and bring in anything they need.
Gotcha. Okay. what can I change about my tasting? Let's say we go and it's all something I don't like is like teriyaki. Like that's just like super random for me.
Why would you be tasting it?
Right. Well, that's true. But let's say there's something there that you just you just don't like it. What can you change?
Pretty much everything. So like I said, you want to be really picky in the sense of like, I don't love this teriyaki sauce. What are my other sauce options? And that could be an instance where maybe they can run into the kitchen and grab you a couple of options, or maybe you come back for like a little mini tasting of sauce options later. Is there too much salt? Or I love this entree that you put together, but I don't love the risotto cake. Like, what other option can I put?
Whoa. Why would someone not like, I mean, I guess if they put teriyaki sauce on it, but you could always scrape that off. Like,
exactly.
Like that's crazy talk.
But if you have an orzo and maybe it has sun-dried tomatoes. I don't like sun-dried tomatoes.
Right.
So maybe I could ask them, like, can you take the sun-dried tomatoes out and
teriyaki sauce and sun-dried tomatoes. These are like straight out of the late 80s, early 90s, isn't it?
It kind of is.
Yeah. There's a pattern here.
There's a pattern of foods we don't like.
Yeah.
So you could always ask them to like change that out. Or maybe you have a taco bar and they don't have guacamole on it. So you could add that. So like just think out.
You gotta have guacamole.
You gotta have guacamole. Maybe they have a cheese you don't like, or I've had people who maybe taste a salad with like mozzarella and they're like, "Oh, I'd rather have feta cheese." Like those are little things that you can easily change. Mm-hmm. Just talk about it there, or take note of it and go home and then report back. But make sure you take notes if you're not going to make the changes there, because you will forget.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
There's too much happening. 2 hours. It's a lot of food.
It's a lot. Yeah. Come very hungry.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that was amazing. So